Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another paper crafting video tutorial. And today it's an introduction video. I am so excited to talk about my latest collection for Spellbinders called Nichole's Needlework collection. This is a collection near and dear to my heart. Most of you know that I do love stitching. I love fabric. I love sewing, quilting, felt stitching, cross stitching, all of the things. And so when it came to developing a new line at Spellbinders, I knew I wanted to make it something that was stitching related with no actual stitching on paper, all just cardstock dies and gluing it together. And I'm really excited that the basic two die sets I designed for the Weekender event from Spellbinders are now available with some fun seasonal add-ons. This is the Gathering Stitches die collection. This is the main collection that you're going to want to build on for all of the things. This includes the adorable round embroidery hoop, all of the components to build it, a rainbow with some layering pieces, so fun, beautiful long stem florals, kind of think embroidery work in a hoop, lots of florals, leaves, all of that good stuff. This is the set that I'm going to build everything on. So here, that is an example. Here's some examples of some cards I have created, different colorways and all of that. Plus, this is the Needleworker toolkit. So this was the add-on for the Weekender event. It's got your embroidery scissors, a spool with thread, a needle, and then that little individual thread piece. Another really fantastic basic that can be used in many ways. So let's go ahead and build our card. This is a wonderful embossing folder that I used to emboss the background of my card. This was from the April 2024 club kits. It's called One Stitch at a Time. It is available for individual purchase. And then I foiled those cross stitches along the bottom edge. I actually did that before the embossing folder. That is also from an April club kit called So Amazing. It was the Glimmer hot foil of the month. And then I glimmered those greetings on the banners. And we're going to use those for the two cards using our Gathering Stitches and Needleworker toolkit dies. Now, I've done the traditional rainbow. I also did the more muted palette neutrals rainbow. We're also going to do something like that, or I'll have another video kind of in that colorway coming soon. But I thought, since this is releasing in July of 2024, wouldn't a kind of patriotic type of design be fun? I mean, you can do rainbow in anything, just showing the versatility. Think Christmas colors, fall colors, spring pastels. Truly, the sky is the limit here. So I kind of stuck with a very simplified color palette, a beautiful red, a bright royal blue, and then a soft blue with white. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about this rainbow is that the die cuts lots of different rays of the rainbow, meaning I have some leftovers that I can create additional cards with. And it also provides a lot of different sizes and widths of rainbow rays, and then the layering pieces, which add even more. My whole goal with this collection, I know that there are a lot of stitching dies out there where you actually stitch. I have done a few here on my channel and I will do more, but my goal for this was to not actually stitch on paper. It was to create something with that look and feel and theme where we're not actually stitching. So you kind of get that feel, but for anybody who isn't a stitcher, you can still play with this stuff and totally have a good time. And you don't have to feel, like you have to stitch with it, which I love. Now the banner from that So Amazing Glimmer of the Month from April, I love the greetings. I know they blow out a little bit with the lights here that I use for filming, but you can see them really good in the finished card examples. But this one says happy stitching, which I kind of loved that, like happy 4th of July, happy stitching. I say happy stitching all of the time. And so I just kind of really liked that. I thought it was a really fun sentiment. And I layered it on another die cut banner. That banner does come in the So Amazing kit, but I layered it on another blue banner because I felt like it got a little lost in the quote unquote fabric background of my embroidery hoop. Forgot to mention to you guys, the background. You can see that it's kind of got that white chalky feel to it. I glimmered it with the cross stitches first. I just didn't want to focus on that for this introductory video of my line, but I glimmered it with silver foil. Then I partially embossed the background, not over the foiling part, just the rest of it, with that one stitch at a time 3D embossing folder, which is of course the awesome needles and thread. And then I took white pigment ink and a blending brush and just very lightly went over the background so it would draw out the detail of that. Now I added a little bit of walnut stain to my spools. I like to grunge up the spools a little bit. It helps them not be quite as flat, in my opinion. And personally, the spool, well, the Needleworker toolkit in general is one of my favorite things to incorporate with any of the sets. Absolutely any of them. So we are going to go ahead and glue our hoop down in place. And I personally love it tilted. There are always those times it looks great straight on, but for whatever reason, I just love my hoop tilted just a little bit. Kind of like you laid it down, you know, tossed it to the side or whatever and let it lay where it lies. How's that go? Whatever, you guys know what I'm saying. The stork embroidery scissors just glue together, super easy. I love that they're a stork. There's a lot of stork embroidery scissors out there. That was definitely the inspiration behind this piece. You just glue them together, and then I like to kind of tuck them amongst all of the sewing related ephemera. I love them tucked in the spools, the thread. You can tuck them in your sentiment. You could die cut a bunch of embroidery scissors and just create an embroidery scissor background, pop a sentiment in place if you wanted to, maybe one of these banners. There's a lot of ways, and I cannot wait to see how everybody uses the products from this release. I also very, very much like tilting my spools, having some of them knocked over, almost like this is a shelf in the sewing room or the craft room, and your little rainbow embroidery hoop is tucked amongst all of the other, you know, sewing notions that you might have there. So the other thing that I absolutely adore is that the thread fits into the little needle so perfectly. It's a great way to draw attention to a sentiment, add to your hoop, or in this case, I decided to tuck it down here amongst the spools. However, I had chosen this blue thread to die cut, and I was like, oh, against the blue background, it gets lost. So I'm just going to set that aside. I actually put it on the backing paper from some foam adhesive. I die cut some red instead, and I love it tucked down here. But you could also kind of lie it across your embroidery hoop, and it will look like maybe it's all, you know, almost tucked in there. I like cutting a little hole in the top of the spool with a craft knife, tucking it down inside. I did that for my bonus card in the Weekender event and things like that. And I'll show some of those things as we go along. Now, the little florals are always a good idea. Spellbinders always does such a good job of the little florals in their sets. They help to soften a design. They add a great embellishment to a design. And I really love how they look here. So we're just tucking little florals. I didn't want to pull green into this design, so I used some silver matte cardstock instead. And there is what my card looks like. You can see that we have our little rainbow. I always use something heavy to hold on top. I put little gems in the center of my flowers to finish it off. Now I want to create with some of the other dies from the Gathering Stitches set. The rainbow, I know so many of you are going to be very drawn to that rainbow, but there's a beautiful stem set as well. Have you seen any of those embroidery pieces, you know, on Instagram or Pinterest or wherever, where it's kind of more the embroidery, not really cross stitch? Think embroidery for this. Which I don't do, by the way. I love and admire it, and I would love to learn, but I don't. But that is what this, or what inspired this particular set, is those beautiful long embroidered stems and then the embroidered flowers on, you know, your fabric in an embroidery hoop. So what I did is I had all these flowers already die cut. I die cut bunches of them for the first card. So I went ahead and die cut the stems from green cardstock, and we are going to use that same color scheme for the florals on this design. And I really think what makes this stand out and really be beautiful is filling it full of florals. I wanted it to look like a little framed floral garden that you would hang on the wall. I'm using my tweezers. These pieces are a little bit delicate and small. If you guys know me at all, you know that that is totally my jam. Tweezers, embellishment wand, a pick and place tool, those kind of things are going to be your best friend when working with these pieces. I've attached some of the florals with foam and some without, and then I saw, oh, dang, I got my flower stem wonky. I did try to line them up with the holes that die cut into the fabric part of this piece. Again, the attention to detail from Spellbinders for making that background look fabric-like is amazing. It's not actually stitchable, or at least I wouldn't use it as a stitching thing, but I love that it has the texture of fabric. So I'm just going to continue to fill my flower garden. And yes, while I was definitely influenced by a patriotic feel for these cards, I also think that this is just a great color combination for summer type of cards. Again, I used a cross stitch glimmer plate from that awesome April Glimmer of the Month club kit called So Amazing, and those are available for individual purchase for non-club members now. I foiled the top and the bottom. This measures about 3 3/4 high by 5.5 inches wide, and I am just going to adhere the frame and the fabric pieces together with foam adhesive. This is one of my favorite things to do with these pieces. If you want your embroidery hoop to be popped up just a little bit, this is a fantastic way to do that. I just am piecing my favorite Simon Says stamp foam here on the back. And then I did put some little foam squares along the edges. I always like to just make sure it's really nice and secure. And we're going to do the same thing where we kind of group all of the ephemera, all of the Needleworker toolkit ephemera together to really make it have that Needleworker look and flair. So here is the hoop. I think it's so cute. I mean, it's just adorable. And honestly, if you wanted to, these make great tags. I'm going to show you one or two here at the end. You can be for sure that come holiday time, all of my stitching friends are getting tags on their gifts for Christmas with these because I just love them. So I used another glimmered greeting from that Glimmer of the Month. It says, "You're so amazing, SEW." Now I do have a stamp set included in this release. It is called Nichole's Needlework Sentiments. However, it's very fall and Christmas themed, so it really goes with the add-ons. I did have a question on social media, and if anybody else is wondering about this, the sentiments you'll see on a couple of the cards, oh gosh, now I can't even think of it. Oh, my soul is fed with needle and thread. And you wonder where that sentiment is. That was in a curated stamp set with lots of different themed sentiments for the Weekender event and is not actually part of this release. So I know that I hate to even mention that, but keep in mind, you can use lots of different sentiments. I'm pointing out these other sewing or stitching themed Glimmer plates, better press plates, stamps, dies, all of the things from Spellbinders that came out from April because they were club kits and now are still available. I don't know if they will be available, you know, forever, or, you know, how long they'll be available, but now would be a fantastic time to pick those up. I will have all of those linked down below because you're going to see me use those in addition to my Nichols Needlework stamp set for the more themed or not themed, seasonal type of cards. So just something to keep in mind. And you can always just choose, you know, a thank you set, a hello set, a thinking of you set. I mean, any greeting is going to work on here. It does not have to be sewing related. So I've just popped this whole panel onto a white side fold card base. Very similar, but I just wanted to show how it looked in landscape and portrait. Okay, let's move on to our next set, and this is going to be a fall set. So this is called the Faux Embroidered Pumpkin, and this is the die set. I wanted it to be more fall with a touch of Halloween. That's the nod to our witch hat here, but it's not necessary. Now, you also would need gathering stitches and the Needleworker toolkit if you want to create kind of what I'm showing here. Here's one example. You can see all the fall feel there. We're going to create a similar kind of card, but what I love is that it can go fall or Halloween. And then I showed you my Nichols Needlework Sentiment stamp set that we're going to use, maybe. I think maybe I actually didn't end up using it. I used it on the card I showed that was previously created, but I actually went with another one of the So Amazing Glimmered sentiments from that April Glimmer of the Month Club kit that says So, S-E-W again, Thankful. Just to show you that this could go maybe a little bit more of the Halloween route. I know I used the witch hat. I wanted to show all of the pieces, but you could go just more of the pumpkins route, and it would be a fantastic Thanksgiving-ish, fallish type of card if you don't want to do Halloween. Now, this is not full-on Halloween. This isn't ghosts and ghouls and skeletons and all of that. Really, the only nod to Halloween is the witch hat on the pumpkin, which is just, can I say it, amazing. And you can use that pumpkin with the witch hat with or without this set. Maybe you have some Halloween sets that you want to use this for. Maybe you want to add jack-o'-lantern eyes and face or whatever and do some spooky sentiments. Go for it. It is perfect for that. Again, this set is floral heavy. The inspiration for this piece was the embroidery hoops that have the embroidered pumpkins on them, and then it's kind of grounded in the embroidery flowers. And so it kind of is sitting, I guess, almost in a, I don't know, a nest of flowers. That's not quite right, but hopefully that makes sense. Now, I love that there's the detail to the witch hat with the band and the buckle, and then it has that little cut in it which slides onto the pumpkin perfectly. Spellbinders did an amazing job. The pumpkin shape is amazing, and if you don't want to use the witch hat, there is a stem that you can die cut from contrasting cardstock and add to the pumpkin. This makes the set so amazing because, again, Halloween not your jam. Everything in here except for that Halloween hat is just great for fall. Super great for fall. So I'm going to pop this on to my hoop I've put together. And again, I kind of stuck with the same theme for the hoop, but you'll notice I changed the cardstock color in the background. I used like a slate gray cardstock just to really set off the design. I used more of a craft color on the other card that I showed at the beginning of this section. And you'll see that one on social media as well. And I also put my sentiment in the hoop and then just kind of surrounded it with the pumpkin and the witch hat and the Needleworker toolkit things. But for this one, we're putting the pumpkin in the center of the hoop. We're decorating it with the florals. I went with the moody jewel tones, very fallish in look and feel. For the background of this card, I am not doing it on camera today. You guys let me know if you want me to do a video where I do more of the background type of things with maybe some of those April card kits. But I took the One Stitch at a Time embossing folder. I embossed it on orange cardstock, but then I flipped it over and I took I did the blackout technique where you take the black ink and you smooth it over the cardstock on the debossed side so that the needles and thread remain orange and then it's black, a black background. And I really, really like that. I can't wait for you guys to see it here in a minute. And then I spritzed it with some fossilized amber distress spritz. So it kind of has a shimmery glow to it. Definitely gives it a great, great fall feel. I love these little greenery pieces from this set. Now keep in mind, you can mix and match everything from the different sets. From my whole collection. So you like these little greenery sprigs, use them on your rainbow cards or your little floral garden cards. Decorate the top of your embroidery hoops. I am going to do that here on this one, but that's one of my favorite things is imagine that you have stitched a little embroidery hoop to hang on your wall and you want to decorate up where the hardware is. That's kind of my imagining for putting these together. Add little greenery, add sprigs of spruce up there at the top, pine needles, all of that good stuff, or in this case, little florals and the little vines. I love these little vines for the pumpkins, and I love all the little leaves from this. Mix and match the leaves from the Gathering Stitches with the faux embroidered pumpkin. Use these with other dies that maybe you have in your stash. Really, the sky is the limit here, you guys. Absolutely just love, love, love this set. I am a fall girl at heart, and so this was super fun. Oh, I love it. Now, at this point, if you wanted to put a cardstock circle on the back, you can make this a gift tag, even if you wanted to. Maybe you put together Halloween treats for grandchildren, nieces, nephews, neighborhood kids, friends, family, whoever. You could make these gift tags, and I think that would be adorable, and I'll show you that here in a little bit with some Christmas things. Now, of course, I did include the Needleworker toolkit, needle, thread, spools, embroidery scissors, all of the things. I did foil my sentiment for this card with gold foil because you'll notice all of my accents are gold. The embroidery scissors are gold. The hardware at the top of the hoop is gold. I think I did do a silver needle, but then my foiling for the sentiment and my embroidery scissors are gold. There is my background. Look how amazing that looks. It just ties it all together. I can't stress enough that I am a huge, huge fan of mixing and matching in my crafting. And so when I did this introductory video, I really wanted to show how you could take things that you maybe have. Maybe you are part of the Spellbinders clubs and you received these back in April. You can totally use these with this. Maybe you have embroidery type stamp sets and things from other collections. The Greetery comes to mind. You can mix and match those into this. Take the things that you maybe already own and mix and match and really create your own designs. So I did do a white pumpkin, and I did a very easy, you'll notice that walnut stain. I just kind of did the rub technique very lightly, like I do for the spools on both of my pumpkins, just to give them a little something. I'm also a huge fan of alcohol ink markers for adding that texture, and I will definitely be sharing more of that in future videos. Definitely give me an idea of more of the things that you want to see with this collection. because I will be using it a lot. So once I kind of have this, I don't know that I'm loving where I have everything. I did move things around. I'm going to move these down just a little bit. Everything was just a little too high, but we'll get there in the end. And out of all of the fall cards and projects I've made with the Faux embroidered pumpkin set, this is probably my most Halloweenish, just with the orange and black background and the splatter that has that shimmer to it, and of course the witch hat. But I still think it's a beautiful and elegant type of Halloween-ish card instead of spooky scary. Now, I am not opposed to spooky scary. You guys know that if you've been here before. But I love that this is just more of that elegant fall feel. I do very much love the embroidery scissors out of any type of mirrored cardstock. Gold mirrored, silver mirror, champagne cardstock, brushed gold cardstock, black glossy cardstock, because I think it looks like actual embroidery scissors that way. So I always love doing that. Here is my little needle and the thread, and you're going to see it. This one is going to be kind of like it's tucked or laying on top of the hoop that's laying flat on the table. Let's imagine that in this case. You guys know I often tell myself little stories when I put together scene cards. So I'm imagining the needles just kind of in the fabric or laying there mid-project. Now, I do have some leftover florals. I actually had more than what I end up using. I saved all of these for, future projects, but I do think the top of the card needs a little pop of color. It just needs to bring your eye up a tiny bit. So we're going to add a couple of florals, a sprig or the little vine, I guess I should say, and leaves. And then we're going to use some awesome Spellbinders jewels. I gotta just take a moment and let you know about the jewels from Spellbinders. If you are a fan of these super teeny tiny little jewels, and that they come in every color under the sun, you're going to want to grab these. I love them. Years and years, like 10 plus years ago when I scrapbooked, one of my favorite little jewels, I can't remember the brand, super teeny tiny, and these remind me of that. Faux embroidered stockings. So again, this set is made to work with the gathering stitches. So you're going to need the embroidery hoop for this project. And then I also use the Needleworker toolkit, and we're going to create both the card and a tag kind of simultaneously. Here I did use my sentiment from Nichole's Needlework Sentiments here for my background on some craft cardstock, and I went with a non-traditional Christmas color scheme just to kind of show what all can be made. So this is like pinks and eucalyptus and kind of that rainforesty dark green color with gold accents, and then like mauves and pinks. Very elegant, very beautiful. I actually really loved how this turned out. I'm going to be creating on a little bit later in the week during a live video that I'm doing where we're going to do more pastel like pumpkins, something I really, really loved last year. And we're going to be doing that with this set as well. I have so much inspiration for this. Now, what I love is that this again was very much inspired by those embroidery type of pieces that you see where like there's this beautiful spruce or pine branch, and then you've got stockings hanging from it. So in this case, we're going to embellish the candy cane. That candy cane has two pieces. You can use the outline candy cane for the solid, and then you use the outline with the insert to die cut those little pieces out, so you're not having to piece anything small for this one. And then I've got the layered greenery that we're going to place along the bottom edge of the candy cane. The stockings have little hanging hooks. They have layering pieces. They are teeny tiny, but they are darling. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. I also did more of what I'd call a modern, well, this is kind of a modern color palette too, but like teals and reds and pinks and greens. Did another card with that. And I will be sharing more as we go forward here as well, through the coming months, maybe more traditional color palette. But the candy cane can be used on its own. That branch can be used on its own. So you definitely do not have to use them just in the embroidery hoop. Maybe you want to do a whole little line of stockings on your card. These stockings are adorable. So I did use a flocked, or I think it's called a velvet luxury cardstock from Simon Says Stamp for the kind of white at the top of the stockings. I know you can't really, there's no touch-o-vision here, but it does have that brushed feel to it, which kind of reminds me of stockings, so I loved that. Then we have the brushed gold cardstock, and I use that for a lot of accents, not only for the hardware on the hoop, but the hangers for our stocking, some of the stripes and the toe and heel and all of that good stuff on the stockings. Also in real life, you're going to see that the stockings do have like texture to them. They're pretty tiny, but I love that even with that, the attention to detail is incredible. So good. I still remember like the inspiration piece that I sent to Spellbinders, just showing them kind of what I had in mind, and they just, above and beyond anything that I could have imagined. I just absolutely love this. And all the way down to those little red, that little red berries there, those are little berries, and then little tiny leaves. So you can tuck those like at the top of the stockings or the candy cane or in the greenery, and it's just incredible. It just adds to the overall look, feel, and definitely the detail to cards. And if you guys know anything about me and my paper crafting, or really any crafting, to be honest, detail and attention to detail is something I'm really passionate about. I think it makes all of the difference when you are creating. And so I'm very, very attention or detail oriented in those kind of things. And Spellbinders just knocks it out of the park every single time. So look at this scene coming to life. Now, I will tell you guys, I actually filmed the card first. This is the tag, in case anybody wonders. I filmed the card first. However, my camera shut off and I didn't see it. So I went ahead and made a tag. I was making a tag anyway. So that's the part you're seeing here, and that's what I will then attach to my card. If you're going to make the tag, I will show that here in just a minute so you can kind of see some of those finishing details. It will also show you how I finished the faux embroidered spruce with the other Christmas set from the Nichol's Needlework collection. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, because there might be a couple things that look a little different than the card, like the placement of the candy cane and the layering and whatnot. And I just wanted to be transparent that sometimes in filming things don't go correctly. And so I actually had to, kind of insert this into this portion of the video. I really have a hard time creating any of these cards without the needle and thread. I just think it's a cute addition, whether you're making a tag or not. So the placement's going to be different right here because this is the tag. So once I have that, I did my little trick with the foam adhesive. I've already stamped my greeting on the back. I really love this Christmas, may your heart be light and your stocking heavy. I thought that was funny and kind of cute. I die cut more of my branch that I used on the hoop, and I love it for softening and kind of almost nestling our embroidery hoop into some greenery, kind of like we've done with the spools and the scissors and all of the things. I have a couple more spools here, but I did die cut 3 branches, that same kind of rainforest. That might not be the exact name, and the eucalyptus type of colors of cardstock. And I've nestled those so that it kind of looks like it's sitting into that. We're going to tuck the spools into our greenery, and then kind of rounding up that right side will be our little embroidery snips. And then the die does die cut 2 of the little berries at the same time. So I ended up die cutting another set of leaves that we can use to embellish the top of our hoop. Like I was mentioning earlier, I kind of love the idea of having a little greenery up by that hardware, bringing some color up, especially when I'm creating these scenes with the hoop and all of the Needleworker toolkit kind of things. I feel like it makes the bottom of the card kind of heavy if you're positioning everything down near the bottom, which I did. I very much did here, and kind of on purpose. I love how that looks with the spools and the greenery, by the way. I have some big plans for Christmas, other Christmas cards with those spools because of it and the greenery. And think outside of just the embroidery hoop. In fact, my final card today, we're not going to use the embroidery hoop because I want to start having you guys think of how can I use these pieces without the embroidery hoop. The embroidery hoop is fantastic. I love it. It's the perfect size. It's everything I love. I love a round hoop. It's my favorite size hoop, favorite shape hoop, I should say, and size in this case. But use these pieces without as well, because you're going to love it. So I put the needle and thread up at the top. Remember I said I would, when I was showing the assembly of the stockings, it's the tag, which you'll see here in just a second. But I'm going to add those little leaves, and then we're going to add the little berries. I probably could have even added more greenery up here. You can go to your other Spellbinder sets or other greenery sets. Definitely mix and match. Always, always, I want to encourage you guys to mix and match. Okay, so for our tag, I use a circle die. There isn't a circle die in this set. That is something from my stash. In fact, I think this is from Lawn Fun. I just found a circle die about the same size as the outer edge of my embroidery hoop. And then I stamped that same greeting, this Christmas, may your heart be light and your stocking heavy, on that solid circle. And that is the back of our tag. Then we are going to take our frame, our hardware, and the quote unquote fabric, and we are going to build our embroidery hoop and make it into a tag instead. This time I did keep the outer edge of the embroidery hoop. Sometimes I do on my cards even too. Sometimes I don't. So if I want to just utilize that and have my frame have a little bit more of a substantial look and feel, I'll just layer them together. Then you glue your hoop to the hardware, and then I want to make sure that it's straight up and down. I'm using this little Post-it tape as my guide. We want to glue the frame to our solid circle, and this could literally be any circle die set that you guys have. Just find something that fits back behind. And I glue that, and then I glue the insert, and then I went ahead and built all of my stocking components. And you guys have seen that, so I'm not going to repeat that. But I do want to show the great thing about this hoop and the reason it makes such a fantastic tags. And I know you guys mention all the time that you love my Christmas content. Me too, and tags are my jam. I am going to use some of this awesome Spellbinders ribbon, and we're going to make a little bow. I'm using my favorite bow making tool. I will list that down below. It's from my friend Chantal. I use the 1.5 size, and we are going to just glue the ribbon to our tag. I'm going to kind of put it up here. I say tag, my embroidery hoop tag. Look how pretty that's going to look, you guys. Isn't that amazing? And then I like to put a little hemp, twine, whatever you have. I'm going to just thread it through, not the ends, because that's going to make it a tag, an ornament, whatever you want to make. Maybe you want to make a whole bunch of these ornaments to not only give to your friends, but then they can hang it on their craft roomed Christmas tree. I know a lot of us have craft room Christmas trees. And then I'm just going to glue the ribbon to the top. And there is another example with the faux embroidered spruce, and of course the finished card. Okay, as promised, it is time for a card without an embroidery hoop. This time, I personally love trees that have spool bases. I've actually made some for my own home decor. This is the faux embroidered spruce, and it looks awesome in the embroidery hoop. You just saw it with that tag, but we're going to use it with the spool from the Needleworker toolkit. And imagine a whole border of these on your card, your journal, whatever the case may be. your scrapbook layout, but I think it looks incredible with our faux embroidered spruce sitting kind of on top of that spool as a base. So what I did for this, I'm going for bright and colorful for this Christmas card, and I used a pink background. This is a soft pink cardstock, and with that soft pink cardstock, I used the So Amazing Glimmer of the Month from April to glimmer some red along the bottom. I used Nichole's Needlework Sentiments to stamp in red ink. That's Lawn Fawn Lobster Red ink for everyone who knows how much I love that color. And I used that to stamp Let the Magic of Christmas Bring Love and Peace to You and to the World. I thought that was so pretty. And I am then attached my spool. Again, all of the same steps that I do for that. I like the Walnut Stain Distress ink, just direct to paper for the spool die cut from Craft Cardstock. We've added the red around the base. Keep in mind, I'm just throwing this out here, embroidery floss wrapped around those spools would be adorable. I think I need to make that happen ASAP. And then there's layering pieces for the faux embroidered spruce. So there's the greenery, and then there is like the trunk and the branches for the spruce that you layer on top. And then there's individual spruce sprigs, I'm going to call them, that you layer on top of the tree. And it kind of disguises maybe the stem or the trunk a little bit and the branches, and it makes your tree fuller. So I highly recommend using those with it. I did kind of trim up this really skinny little foam piece because I popped up my spool. I wanted to pop up my tree as well. And it looks a little bare right now, but never fear, it's going to be awesome. There is a star. I did die cut that from brushed gold. I love that up at the top of the tree. And then what I'm going to do before I add any greenery in this set is the piece 2 die cut the little, what I call the base of the ornaments. And then there's little tiny circles, and you die cut those. I die cut them from a whole array. I have tons of these left over. I'm going to just make a bunch more cards is what I'm going to do. But I wanted a bright, colorful, more modern type of tree. So what I did is I'm placing the little gold layering piece on my tree first. Then I'm going to layer on the colorful ornaments. And once we have the colorful ornaments in place, we are going to then add in the rest of the greenery because I want it to kind of overlap. I want it to look like the ornaments are tucked into the tree, a little bit more of a natural look and feel. You're going to see it come to life. At first, it's kind of like, you know, oh, it's a little bare. But once we start adding all that good stuff to it, it's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. We've got pink and yellow and red and light blue and teal, or kind of aqua and teal, orange and lime green for our ornaments. I just went with as many as it die cuts. I didn't actually die cut more for any of those. You could fill it with more if you wanted to, but I feel like this is plenty. Look how good that looks. Oh my gosh. Now, once we start adding in all of the individual spruce sprigs, it really comes to life. So this is where you kind of just go out from the base, and I'm just going to start layering them in. And this makes our tree so full and so beautiful. And the tree itself would be amazing with or without any of the rest of the Nichole's Needlework set. So maybe you just want a beautiful Christmas tree card. This is going to be fantastic, you guys. Maybe you just want to add this in a beautiful sentiment. The sentiments really don't have anything stitching, sewing related to them. You could create beautiful, elegant cards just with this die set alone if you wanted. And that really goes for any of these add-on sets. You can mix and match these with anything else that you already have. So I'm going to just keep going in and layering in all these little branches. You could even do multiple colors of green if you wanted to. Really just make it your own. I did go in with some sparkle, I think I used Hero Art Sparkle Lacquer to make my ornaments sparkly. You could use glossy accents. Maybe I use glossy accents actually. Anything like that. I like to do that for ornaments. I think it just adds a great finishing touch. I, of course, did have to go to my Needleworker toolkit. I've got a needle and thread. I think it's going to be a nice little finishing touch, almost looking like the thread is coming from the spool, and it's kind of helping frame up down here along the bottom of the card. I did finish this with a scattering of jewels and some white splatter from Spellbinders. And here is a look at all of my cards. I have lots and lots of cards with the gathering stitches because, of course, I die cut that to make a traditional rainbow. So I had leftovers and I made more cards. We've got the Americana, the neutral, our floral card, and that's gathering stitches. From the Needleworker toolkit, here's a card that just features spools in the needle and thread. We have our faux embroidered pumpkin. I noticed that some things were hanging off the edge. Let me trim that up. So here's a couple of examples of that set. Next, we have our faux embroidered spruce card and tag. Isn't that fun? And then we have our faux embroidered stockings, card, and tag. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for the introductory video for Nicole's needlework collection for Spellbinders 2024. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see what you make with my collection, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye! Thank you so much for joining me today for another paper crafting tutorial. I love being able to share with this incredible community of crafters. I want to give a huge shout out and special thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you're interested in joining Patreon, please click the link in the description underneath the video here on YouTube. Patreon is a private community where you can support more of what I do. There is exclusive content, information, and behind-the-scenes content. Top-tier members will receive a handmade birthday card during your birthday month, access to D-Stash, and monthly exclusive lives, plus so much more. We would love to have you join our growing community. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new video. Thanks for watching!